Alrighty, welcome back, Corba and crew. Welcome back to Genius with Slow, the only podcast where I just kind of ramble without saying all too much. That is the idea, that is what we're doing. Welcome, happy you're here. Now, I want to re-explain a little bit. I want to revisit the idea of why this podcast is named the way it is, right? So, for those that don't know, why would you start on the second episode? Go watch the first one. But for those that don't know, I'm recording this while in the car. Because while in the car, I have a lot of time. I used to, not anymore, this is a quite an exciting road, but I used to drive on quite a boring road. It was just straight lines everywhere, not much happening, so my mind started to wander, and I realized, well, if it's like while my mind is wandering, I start kind of talking to myself, and it keeps me awake, it keeps me focused, because, it's a way to keep me focused in a certain way. Just talking about just talking to myself keeps me a little bit focused. Now, why is it called Genius with Slow, you might ask? Well, I could explain it to you very well by an example that my friend actually gave me recently in a pub. So I explained to her what the podcast was, and I explained my mind sort of goes into an automatic mode where I'm just driving, I'm just going, I'm being careful, I'm focused on the road. But because I'm so focused, and it is quite a boring road, there's not much to do, my mind starts to talk and starts to say stuff. So I'm in the car, and I'm recording a podcast. That is the idea. And she just went to me like, yeah, but why didn't you name it Autopilot? Because, well, your mind is on autopilot, and you're talking in an automotive vehicle. So I just sat myself down and kicked myself, because why didn't I think of such a genius title? But then I realized, my title is even better now, because I missed the good title because I was too slow. I already released the first episode, I can't change it now, so it's a genius idea, but it came way too slow, so Genius but Slow, there we go. Again, happy to be here. So that is a bit of the title, and that is a bit of who I am as a person, to be honest. I could be the next Elon Musk, is what I always tell people. But I'm just too slow. I'm a genius, but I'm just too slow. So that is kind of why that happens there. So the topics of this podcast always are a bit around that, about the dumb things I do in a daily show. Now, I would like to put in another recording in here, actually. So a couple weeks ago, when I first started this podcast, I was driving on a boring road, as I explained to you. After that, I got pretty ill. I got ill, okay? It was a cold, let's not exaggerate. But I just didn't feel well, and a working life combined with being ill, everything went back down to the basics. I wasn't doing anything that wasn't eating or sleeping, basically. There's a car in the middle of the road, nice. Standing still. So I wasn't doing anything aside from the basics. Now, after a while, I started feeling better, but I was still pretty ill, and you'll hear it in the recording. And I drove to work, and I was like, I drove to work, and I took the wrong, I'll explain it to you again probably. I took the wrong turn, basically meaning that I needed to approach work from another angle and from another road, a road that I didn't know. I'll give you the context to this clip in a bit. I'm gonna let it play for you first. There's an unaired episode that was of a couple of weeks ago, I believe. It was it was probably about a month ago at this point. So have fun, listen to the clip. It's not the greatest clip. It's quite boring. That's why it ends after 15 minutes. but enjoy. Hello and welcome to podcast number 2, I presume. So I got a new microphone. Let's test it out, right? What is this? This is, let me just say a bit of stuff like it's the highest quality on high minus. That is what I'm on right now. Don't you worry about that. That is just for me, in case that I need to know what quality is what quality. Now, I don't know if you can hear, but I still feel ill. Oh my god. I don't know why. I started feeling ill last week, and then it slowly was slowing down, but I had like a really bad cough. And now that cough from like deep in my throat went back up, and now it's back in my nose, and it's hard to breathe sometimes. But yeah, that's my health anyway. For those that don't know the concept yet, the idea is I spend a lot of time in my car, so I decided why not bring a mic with me and talk to you guys in sort of a podcast format, but then more a monologue than a dialogue, kind of. So I hope you enjoy. This is gonna be, I've already said that in the first episode, kind of, but this is gonna be quite chaotic because it's literally my first priority is the road. I need to focus on the road, and that is why you won't see that much structure, I guess. I'm gonna be talking about one topic at a time, but since my focus is elsewhere, I don't really control the words that come out of my mouth. It's just the first thing that comes to mind that kind of spills out because I'm focused on other things. Anyway, reason you can't hear the engine that loudly right now is because I'm standing still. My engine was off a second ago. Let me just turn it back off because this has no use really. So the thing is, I am standing in front of an open bridge right now. The bridge is completely open. It's quite it's quite majestic, but a couple of boats needed to go through. And I'm gonna say I'm quite sad about it because I took a wrong turn. Dumbass me took a wrong freaking turn. Instead of taking a right away from the highway, I continued to road and went back on the highway that I was on previously. So I accidentally got back on the highway, drove 2.5 kilometers further, turned around, and came back another way that is a bit like through the smaller roads in the harbor. And now I'm in front of an open bridge. This is frustrating because I shouldn't be here. I could have been at work so much earlier, and that would have meant that I could have left so much earlier. But now I will arrive at 8, I guess, at the earliest. I don't know. Oh, the car has decided to kind of take over. I don't know what your plan is, mate, because there's nowhere to go. Oh my god, I swear, sometimes you see things on the road that you just think, what is this person doing? So, normally this thing is not about the road, by the way, but this is just kind of funny to me. We're all standing in traffic in front of this open bridge. And this one guy decided, I'm not gonna wait, so he goes on the left lane, on the opposite lane, and just drives past us all the way to the front. I'm like one away from the front, there's a truck in front of me. And he just goes there, and then he's like, oh, okay, what do I do now? So he was standing there, and then just painstakingly turned back and is now left. He's now left. I don't know if he's just driving all the way back down traffic and then just go back in line. I don't know what his plan is. It's a bit ridiculous. But I gotta say, I've been here for about 15 minutes now, and the bridge can get closed now. Like it's getting a bit much. Anyway, Valentine's Day is around the corner. How's everyone feeling? You know, I've never had a girlfriend on Valentine's Day, so that is always why I kind of use Valentine's Day as a tool, as everyone should, to just admire their loved ones and tell their loved ones thank you for being there. So I usually like make something or have some kind of gift for my best friend, because I love that she's in my life, and I don't really buy anything for our parents. They're loved ones, but it's parents. I'm not gonna give my parents a Valentine. They got each other, okay? Don't come at me. Oh, I see movement in the bridge. Is it going even higher now? The bridge is moving, but I can't tell if it's going down or up. Okay, it's not moving anymore. Anyway, Valentine's Day. Some cynics, right? There are cynics, and I get that, because it's a lonely time, and other people would say, "Oh, why use this one day for your loved one? All of this commercial stuff, and buy all this commercial stuff for one day." No, I love my wife, my partner, my husband, whatever. I love them every day of the year, so I'm not going to use Valentine's Day. And it's like, that's the point. Just pick one day a year. Most people use Valentine's Day, but just pick one day a year that everything is about them, about making them happen, and about celebrating what you two have together. Sure, there's a bunch of commercial stuff around it. Everyone's gonna sell pink stuff with hearts on it, and that's a bit ridiculous. Sure, that is true. Just don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Make something yourself. Just make a gift for your partner and or loved one, and that could be it, right? It's not about other people. It's not about the stores and what they sell and what the Matrix is trying to tell you. It's not about that. It's about you being happy. So if it makes you happy to make your partner happy, make them happy on Valentine's Day. If it makes you happy to make a friend happy, make a friend happy on Valentine's Day. It's not that difficult. Life could be so easy. I always say this. Life could be so easy. Just don't be too cynical and just enjoy it. Just think about what you want, and then every single step you take is towards what you want. Okay? No side steps. Any side step is just a waste of time. Just decide what you want, and then just every single move you make in life, it's towards that. And I think that is, I try, right? I try, but I take a lot of side steps. It's a lot of waste of time, but at the same time, I love a waste of time. So, I'm still happy, and goal reached, right? That's what I always say. I was explaining this to people the other week. I'm a simple guy. I love how simple I am. I love how simple I am, because a really simple, easy, small thing could make me really happy. For example, I in my dorm, whenever I had to cook for myself, which was every day, I would experiment a little bit, but basically my meal, and you're going to be shocked by this, but my meal was pasta and meat, right? That was it. And that was my basic sort of dorm days. Just cook some pasta, make some meat, and that's it, okay? That is my entire meal. Now, over the years, and I was happy with that. The first couple of weeks, I was by myself, and I was like, oh my god, I cooked that, I made this happen. I was so excited for it. I was dancing in the kitchen because I was making that for myself. That is how easy it is to make me happy, by the way. And a couple of weeks after, I was like, I want to try something special. So I got some cream cheese, and I cooked the pasta, let the water pour out, and then I put some cream cheese under that pasta with the meat. And again, for another month, I was just insanely happy. I was so... Every time I got to cook that simple, easy meal, it was always the same, but I loved it so much because I made it. I made that meal for myself. I'm nourishing myself. It was wonderful. I loved it. And it's such a simple thing, right? It's such a simple thing, and that brings me to the other point, and the point why I'm always kind of happy is I'm happy because of easy things, but because I get happy by easy things, that is such a simple, easy thing that also makes me happy, right? I love the fact that I can be entertained and that I can love such easy things, right? So yeah, it's just a circle. I just go around in circles, making myself happy. It sounds so sad, but it's not. I swear, it's fun. Of course, I got struggles. It's not because I can make myself temporarily happy with just a simple fact of easy and simple things. That's not it, right? I got distracted because I was like, should I leave my key in my car? Because isn't like the battery gonna run out or something? I don't know. Anyway, I'm stuck in traffic, so there's nothing I can do. I wish I could leave earlier tonight because friends are coming to my place, but I guess that's not gonna happen because it is about 8 o'clock now, and I was gonna be there at 7:45. So I guess that went horribly wrong. That was not meant to happen. Oh well. It is what it is, right? It's nothing to do. The bridge is just opened. What am I supposed to do with that? And I didn't tell anyone at work when I would be there today because I'm working from a different location today. I used to work in the headquarters of the company that hired me for a project. But they never wanted me at the headquarters. They wanted me to work in the harbor. But the company in the harbor had a scandal last year, so they're really strict about their rules at the minute. And those strict rules prevented me to get in there for about 4 weeks. 4 weeks it took to get all of our paperwork together. But finally it worked, and finally I'm going there now, and I should be there permanently now until about April. Because if you don't know, I am a project consultant, and that means that my company lends me to other companies for small projects, about 3 months at a time. So yeah, 3 months at a time that I just work with the company, and then I leave, and then I just start over. Basically, it's just my first day all over again at a different company. The stress is immense, but I also love that I'm getting better at meeting new people, and I'm getting better at having that anxiety of that first day. That anxiety is immense, and that is kind of what I want to get rid of, because I want to get better at that first impression, right? I want to go live in the UK. If I want to go live in the UK, I need to convince some people that I'm a good guy. Then I can't be an acquired taste, okay? I can't be an acquired taste. I need to be charming and lovely right off the bat, which worries me at the minute. But yeah, I swear, being ill is kind of slowing down my brain. Normally words to just spill out, and there are some interesting stories, but I'm afraid that there are not going to be any interesting stories today. It's just going to be a bit of this, and yeah, we'll dive into the good stuff at some point. Good stuff like presentations from primary school and whatnot. That was an insane time. There's stories upon stories that I can tell about that. It was mental, and I can't wait. There's some stories about Chris that I'm going to be telling. I didn't tell him that I was going to do this, but you guys don't know the real Chris yet. I was with him in primary school. Ooh boy, I'll tell you his nickname from primary school in one of these podcasts. I'll give the podcast a relevant title to the subject of the day, so you wouldn't get too confused, I guess. It'll be okay. You'll see when it happens. It will be an episode called Chris. Yeah. So this is all just an experiment of what is gonna happen with this new microphone. Because if you don't know, the previous microphone I had in podcast 1 was a bit. I wasn't happy with the quality, right? And this one, it should be alright, I guess. My engine is off, so I don't see an issue with why this shouldn't sound clear. Kind of, if something's wrong now, I'm gonna be fuming, man. Anyway, I'm gonna end it now because hopefully the bridge will open soon. Otherwise, I'll just turn back because this is actually taking forever. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I get to work alive. I would say on time, but on time really is not in question anymore. We'll see what happens, boys. Catch you on the flippity flap. So, to explain to you what happened in this clip, oh goodness, how do I need to explain this? So I explained to you, I was standing in front of an open bridge, right? I was standing in front of a channel, a sort of dock, right? And the bridge was opened so the boats could come through. Now, that could take a while. So I was standing there, and I was very early, by the way, because I wanted to arrive at work really early that day because I was meeting up with friends in the evening. So I wanted to be home in time. Now, I took a wrong turn, blah, 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 went to the bridge, stood in front of the open bridge, and I was like, well, I'll have to be patient because, what else is there to do? The only other option, really, that I had was drive all the way back, get back on the highway. The highway would go through a tunnel, and that tunnel would, cross that channel, right? So you wouldn't have to wait for the bridge. But then I would have to go all the way back. And I know the irony of the universe, okay? I know the irony of the universe. As soon as that bridge was out of my peripheral, it was going to close. I knew it. I felt it. And I wasn't going to let it happen. I wasn't going to let that bearded guy upstairs laugh at me because I turned around too soon and I didn't have the patience, right? Because I'm a very patient man, okay? I'm a very patient man. And then turning back because I didn't have the patience would have been catastrophical for my ego if that bridge started to go. So I decided to wait. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the best of this. I'm going to record that podcast. So that is what you heard. Now, after it ended, I decided hey, maybe I should look at the map again. Maybe there's another road, because I kept seeing these people in the mirror, and I don't know if I mentioned it. I kept seeing these people in my back mirror that they were taking a right turn somewhere. They were taking a right turn behind me somewhere, and I kept looking at the map and thinking, well, that's some industrial sort of some industry right there. There's a company that is sitting there. So why are people going over there? There's nothing there. So why? I didn't understand. So I kept zooming in on the map and thinking, and then I saw it. Then I saw that there was a second road across that little dock, that little, I forget what I could call it, but the little channel of water, I guess, in the harbor. There was a second bridge. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, that doesn't really make sense that everyone is going to that bridge. If this bridge is open, then the other one 100 meters from here is also open. Why would they have one closed, one open, right? That doesn't really make sense to me. So I was sitting there, I just kept waiting, lots of patience, and apparently I can now, I measured the amount of patience that I have, and the amount of patience that I have is 45 minutes, okay? 45 minutes that I sat there in front of an open bridge. Oh man, I was livid. I was so mad. 45 minutes that I sat there, fuming. And eventually I thought like, hey, this is literally taking forever. I need to get to work because I'm already so late. So I start turning back, and I'm watching that bridge like a hawk, because I don't trust that bridge, right? I don't trust it. If I start to go, that bridge is going to close, everyone is going to drive, everyone is going to laugh at me. I don't like it. So I was watching the bridge like a hawk. I was turning around, and luckily, that bridge did not close, actually. And I started driving back, and I saw that street where all these cars went to the other bridge and went to that industrial area. So I thought, like, you know what, I'm late anyway, so why not go and check it out, right? How big is the line of traffic in front of the other bridge? Because I saw so many people go onto that industrial area. It's insane. So I started looking, and I started driving over there. And I noticed I didn't see a bridge in the sky. I didn't see an open bridge. Why didn't I see an open bridge? So I take a left, I look at it, and the bridge is just, well, it's closed, which means it's open, right? You know what I mean? You know the logic of bridges and opening and closing them. So it was closed, so I could drive over it, and I could just go to the other side without any issue. So the whole 45 minutes I was stuck there were for nothing. So that was frustrating. Now, it's an interesting story, right? Because, of course, when I got to work, I don't work in the same office as my direct boss works. So he sent me a Teams message like, hey, did you get there all right this morning? And I just replied to him like, mate, he's a funny guy, so I can call him mate. Mate, it was all right. Like, I am here all right, but the drive over was hell. And he was like, oh no, what happened? And I said, well, I took the wrong turn, and I ended up back on the highway, and I immediately went somewhere else, but hold on, what do I need to do here? I'm gonna wait, because this has no use. No. Okay, so anyway, I told him, like, oh, I took a wrong turn, and I ended up there. I was standing in front of an open bridge, and it took me so long, and eventually I went to look at the other bridge, and apparently there's a second bridge that is closed that you can just drive over. I told him that in the chat message, and he just replied like, oh, what? Yeah, I was about to say, like, you know there's a second bridge, right? And I'm just looking at my chat, my Teams chat, and I'm just thinking like, there's a second, why is that obvious? Why do you just shrug and be like, you know there's a second bridge, right? I just know he said it with a smug face. I know he did. So apparently it's common knowledge that such a channel has 2 bridges, because those bridges could stay open for hours. They could stay open for so long. And I didn't know. I didn't know there was a second bridge. So later on, I got home, and I told my parents, like, oh, hey, this happened. I was standing in front of a bridge, and they interrupted me immediately. As soon as I said I was stuck in front of a bridge in the harbor, they interrupted me, and they said, like, well, you know there's a second bridge, right? And I'm just looking at them like, yeah, that piece of information is like wood on the fire of my frustration. Thank you, mother. Thank you, father. Great talking to you. I was livid. At least with that frustration, I at least took off like 3.5 years of my life. Man. And that is the recording that you actually hear. So everything on there now gets such a different context, because everything I say is just, when you know that there's just 100 meters from where I am, there's just a bridge ready to be driven on, and I was standing in front of this one that was opened. Boy, okay, so that was the frustrating bit there. Now, while I was talking, right, I started realizing, hey, didn't I delete that recording because it was just boring anyway? So maybe I did this entire rant without you having heard the recording, and this becomes useless as well, which would just be marvelous. I would just prove my point of why I'm a genius but kind of slow. It would just prove all those points, but sadly I keep proving the point slow a little bit more than I keep proving the genius part of it. The genius part of it came 45 minutes after the slow part. That is a bit of what happened with the bridge. That is how I could summarize that in a clean manner for you. Now, I don't know if you can hear. I don't know. I don't actually know how good the quality on this microphone is, because I haven't tested it since that day. And I knew the recording that day, well, my engine wasn't even on, so I could record quite well. And quality wasn't, well, that amazing, you know. So I hope this quality is good, because I haven't even checked the audio levels yet. Let me have a look while I'm stuck in traffic anyway. Yeah, I think you should be able to hear me quite alright. Now the thing is, right, every morning I wake up, I do my morning routine. Right, get away, tractor. I do my morning routine, and I just hop in the car and go straight to work without having breakfast, because it's really early. Which brings me to my next point. I'm driving up to a bakery real close. I'm stuck in traffic, by the way. Like, this is just a daily thing. There's this one road here through one of the villages, and it's always traffic here. So I'm just gonna throw my car to the side of the road and just hop out, get something from the bakery, and then I'll be right back. I don't know how much I'll record afterwards, after hopping into the bakery, but you know, we'll see. There should be a parking spot available somewhere close. Now, guys, let me just say, I hope you have been enjoying these 2 episodes that I put out already. Oh my days, no, my usual parking spot is, I think there's roadworks on my usual parking spot. Oh no, that would be terrible. I can't see that far. But I know the roadworks start here, so I could just throw my car to the side over here and walk all the way to the bakery. I think that would be the safest option, you know, because I don't see if I could even park over there. So, fuck it, I'll do it here. Sorry for the swearing, but I just know what's gonna happen now. I'm gonna have risked it to park over here and walk all the way, and it's gonna turn out that there's loads of parking spots over on the other side. So, people, I will see you in a bit. Alright, my lovely people, welcome back. Well, welcome back for you guys. It was through the magic of editing. It was only a second, but for me it was about 5 minutes. Right, so what did I say right before I ended it to go to the bakery? Right, I was looking for a parking spot, and I thought that the parking spots that I usually take by the side of the road had roadworks on it. I was wrong. So I started walking. It was quite a bit of a walk, like compared to usual, because normally I get to stop in front of the bakery. Now it was quite a bit ahead of it. It just made me lose a bit more time than I would like to. But the big thing was, the roadworks weren't even like at any parking space. It was just a bit in the side of the road, that they were doing stuff in. Like, it wasn't bothering the road, it wasn't bothering the parking spots, it was nothing. And I, well, didn't realize. I saw it from afar that there were these orange nets all around a certain bit, but I thought it was way longer than what it actually was. So great, that's my morning. Oh, days, always look on the bright side of life. I'm trying. Right. So, subject that I do want to talk about. I don't think we got time for it today because I want to get into it quite deeply. But one of the subjects that is going to come is how greeting people is like rock, paper, scissors, an original by Matthias, right? I think greeting people in the street is exactly like rock, paper, scissors, and I'll explain to you why, but not on this episode, because you know what, we want to give everything its own time and take our time to discuss these subjects thoroughly. Because every subject deserves that kind of attention, right? Wouldn't you want a full episode of me talking about how greeting people is like rock, paper, scissors? Isn't that what you're here for? Isn't that the content we're looking for? Right, so I'm kind of losing my mind at this point, and I'm about to go on the highway, which would become a little bit more dangerous for talking. That is what I mean with, normally I had an hour and a half that I was just sitting in the car, driving, not doing much, but now it's the highway, and yeesh, these people drive like crazy. Now, anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed as much as the first one. I never expected that good, like that amazing feedback on last episode, by the way. So thank you so much. I really thought I had such a horrible idea on my hands, but apparently people like this. I was a bit surprised by that. It was just for my own entertainment at first, but now it's for you guys as well. Let's go. So people is exactly where I leave the city and go onto the highway. So I will see you next time. Don't forget to leave a like and drop me some feedback in the comments. Bye bye.